So today we are going to be making lemon cupcakes. So I have this recipe right here that I will link in the description, and that is the recipe I'm going to be following for this video. I'm not going to follow the recipe exactly as it says on the paper because I love it when things are just a little bit of a surprise. So for instance, they have a recipe on here for some whipped cream frosting. I'm not going to be making that. I'm just going to make the cupcakes because then it'll be like the consistency of a cupcake, but it'll kind of look more like a muffin. And yeah, okay, so let's get started. So for starters, I just have all my ingredients that I'm going to need. I have all-purpose flour, baking powder, salt. They recommend unsalted butter. This is kind of where I veer off a little bit. I always use salted butter when I'm baking, so whatever suits your fancy. And then some granulated sugar, 2 large eggs, lemon zest, fresh lemon juice, vanilla extract, and some buttermilk. Okay, so we're gonna start with this small bowl right here, and we are going to put together the flour, baking powder, and salt. So we're gonna do 1.5 cups of flour. So here we have our flour. And we're probably gonna make a mess, which is also fine. So 1 cup and 1/2 cup. Alrighty. Perfect. Then we are going to do the baking powder. And for the baking powder, we are going to do 0.5 tablespoons. So baking powder. Kind of level it off. And right in there. Okay. Then we do salt. And for the salt, we do 0.25 teaspoons. So 1/4 teaspoon. I have 1/2 teaspoon here, so I'm just kind of gonna fill that halfway, and that'll be about 1/4. Perfect. Okay. Then we are just gonna kind of stir that together. You can use a whisk. I'm just gonna use a fork for simplicity's sake. And awesome, there we go. So we're gonna take a nice mixing bowl then, and we're gonna kind of switch it up a little bit and use some wet ingredients. So they recommend having 1/2 cup of butter at room temperature. Again, I kind of veered off a little bit here. I always do this. I know you're probably not supposed to, but I kind of like just softened my butter in the microwave because I didn't have any that was at room temperature. And I know that's probably not the best thing to do, but here we are. And we are going to add into that some sugar. So we're going to do 1 cup of granulated sugar for that. So sugar. Sorry, that is probably a bit loud. All right into that butter. As you can tell, these are super healthy. All right. I am going to step away for just a little bit because now we kind of have to mix this together with a mixer. So we just have our sugar and our butter in there, you can kind of see. And I'm going to step away just so that it isn't quite as loud, and then I will come back once that is nice and mixed together. All right, we are back. We have mixed the butter and the sugar together, and now it looks like a nice little pile of nicely creamed butter and sugar. So now we're going to add the eggs one at a time, and they recommend beating them just for the video so I don't have to keep pausing and coming back. I think I'm going to just stir it in with a fork. Whoops, kind of made a mess there. That's okay. Baking can be messy. Okay, so we're going to take a spoon and we're just going to stir it together. And then once I have them both in, I'll maybe see if it looks kind of good. Otherwise, I'll step away and beat it a little bit. But no, actually, this is looking pretty good. We'll just go with this. It doesn't always have to be perfect. All right, so we'll add our next one. Perfect. And stir that together. Okay. Awesome. Then I did pre-measure out my lemon zest. So basically just take a zester, or if you're like me and don't have one, take a cheese grater and just kind of grate some lemon zest. And we're going to throw that in there. Again, all the measurements, if I'm not saying specific measurements, those will all be in the recipe in the description. And the really fun thing about the recipe is if you go in, I was actually able to, when I went to print my recipe, I was able to change how many servings I wanted, which was really nice because it would just allow you to minus or add, and then it would automatically change all the measurements right there for you for the measurements. So that was really cool. So I'm making 12 muffins. You can make, I believe, up to 24. All right, we're gonna add our vanilla extract now. Half a teaspoon, yes, half a teaspoon. All right, there we go. All right, we're gonna stir that in. All right, so next we are gonna add in that dry mixture, and we're also gonna alternate buttermilk lemon juice. So we have our dry mixture and we have lemon juice. We need 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. All right, we're getting our lemon juice measured out. Perfect. Okay, and then we need to measure out 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Okay, so we're gonna pour in some buttermilk, pour in some lemon juice, and add some of our dry mixture. Okay, then we'll stir that together. This is looking so good. It smells so good too. Okay. Then again, same idea. Add some more buttermilk. I think we'll kind of just do it in 2 batches. That seems good. Add our lemon juice. And then I'm going to switch to a fork so that it kind of gets all the clumps out. You could be using a mixer too, just for sake of the video. I don't want to make it too loud. So we're just adding the rest of that dry mixture in. And we're going to stir it all together. I'm going to scrape the sides down with a spatula, one of those nice like rubber ones, so that we can make sure that all those dry ingredients are mixed in nice and uniformly. All right, I'm going to step aside. I'm going to stir this together with a mixer just to get rid of all the clumps. And then in the next clip, we should be back to pour all that batter into our liners. Okay, now I have all the cupcake liners in my cupcake tin. I use these fun yellow ones just because, you know, lemon cupcakes. But you can use any liners you want. Just put them in your cupcake tin. Again, I did 12 just so that I'd only have to use 1 pan. So now what we're going to want to do is, this might be a little controversial. I know a lot of people use a lot of different things. I'm going to use an ice cream scoop, actually, to get my batter in the liners because I find that works really well. So you're going to want to get them about 1/2 to 2/3 full, and that kind of can just be like whatever you feel like you want your cupcakes to look like. I am just kind of going to start and see where life takes me. Also, I actually had to run to the store and grab a cupcake liner, or not cupcake liner, a cupcake tin, because I in fact lost mine. And while I was at the store, I put my batter in the fridge just to keep it kind of cold. And so I'm finding right now is that it's kind of scooping really well. You know, you always get that overspill when you make cupcakes, and right now I'm not getting any of that. So honestly, we'll see how they bake out, but that might be a good idea just to throw them in the fridge for like 10 minutes, your batter, before you scoop it. Whoops. That's okay. We can recover from this. Okay. Yeah, this is going really well, actually. So hopefully they bake out good, but if they do, might be a pro tip. It also might not. We'll see. Okay, I'm kind of gonna get like a, let's see, I'm gonna try a fork and just kind of like spread it out a little bit so I can see which ones have less that I want to fill in a little bit. Oh, that one needs some help. Oops. Okay. I'm making a mess. That's all right. You can always clean that stuff up after as well, unlike what I just did. Okay, so we'll add some to the ones that are looking a little in need of help. It smells so good. And honestly, this is a really good recipe because I budgeted for 12 and this is user error. I'm kind of filling them a little bit differently. They look about the same, but not quite. However, the actual measurements are perfect. So, really good recipe for that. All right. As you can see, I have them full. Some of them might be a little overfilled, but that's okay. You're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 before this, and then just throw them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, it says. So I will see you guys after that.